Nobody is coming. That is the hard truth you feel at 2 in the morning when the room is quiet and your excuses stop talking. The life you want is not far away, but it is hiding behind 5 habits you keep treating like small things. Your life can change in 1 week, and the scary part is this: your life can change in 1 week. If something in you is tired of almost, tired of later, tired of watching other people become who you know you could be, then stay close to this voice and subscribe, because some words are not meant to pass through your ears once and disappear. I know what it feels like to be disappointed in yourself. I know what it feels like to wake up already behind, to carry guilt like a backpack, to smile in front of people and still feel like you are losing in private. And I am not here to shame you for that. I am here to tell you the truth. Your pain is real, but so is your power. The truth bomb is simple. Most people are not ruined by one big mistake. They are ruined by small, daily neglect. A late night here, a broken promise there, one more scroll, one more snack, one more excuse. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. And then one day they look in the mirror and call it bad luck. No, it was pattern, it was drift, it was habit. The beautiful news is this works both ways. If neglect can bury a life, discipline can build one. If small choices can break you, small choices can bless you. That is why I'm telling you with all the love in my chest and all the truth in my bones, your life can change in 1 week. Not because 1 week makes you perfect, not because 1 week turns you into a new person by magic, but because 1 week can prove something your fear has been hiding from you. 1 week can prove that you still have command. 1 week can prove that you are not weak, not stuck, not finished. 1 week can show you that the door was never locked. You just stopped turning the handle. The first habit that changed my life was simple, almost too simple. I took back my morning, not my whole day, just my morning. Most people lose the day before breakfast. They wake up and let the world tackle them before their feet hit the floor. Phone in hand, mind racing, spirit leaking. They start the day in reaction, in panic, in noise. Then they wonder why they feel behind by noon. Listen to me. The morning is not just time on a clock. The morning is the steering wheel. The morning is the first brick. The morning is the first push on the swing that decides where the whole thing goes. If your first hour belongs to distraction, your day will belong to recovery. If your first hour belongs to purpose, your day will have a spine. I stopped sleeping until the last possible second. I stopped letting the alarm become a debate. I got up when I said I would get up. No drama, no meeting with my feelings, no vote, just movement. Then I did a few small things that looked boring on paper and felt life-changing in real life. I made my bed, I drank water, I stood in silence. I wrote down what mattered most for that day. That was it. Not fancy, not heroic, not social media pretty, but there is something powerful about doing a simple thing on purpose before the world starts making demands on you. It tells your mind, I lead here. It tells your body, we move when we say move. It tells your spirit, we are not waiting to feel ready. Readiness is not the boss. Decision is the boss. Think about that. So many people say they want confidence, but confidence does not come from hype. It comes from evidence. It comes from watching yourself do what you said you would do. You want to trust yourself more? Keep one promise before breakfast. One promise. That is where self-respect starts. Not in speeches, not in dreams, not in wishing, in proof. Every morning you wake up, life asks you one quiet question. Who is in charge today? And most people answer with a snooze button. Most people answer with a scroll. Most people answer with delay. Then they spend the rest of the day trying to outrun the feeling that they already lost. I am telling you, even a messy morning becomes better when you start it with one act of order. Make the bed, clean the sink, step outside, breathe deep, stretch, pray, read 1 page. Sit still for 3 minutes. It is not about the task, it is about the message. The message is, I will not begin this day as a victim of my own weakness. I will begin as a man with a hand on the wheel. And here is what surprised me. I did not need a month to feel the change. I felt it fast. Within days, my head was clearer, my anger was lower, my choices were sharper. I was not as easy to pull off track because I had already put myself on track. A good morning does not solve every problem, let us be real. Bills are still bills, stress is still stress, pain is still pain, but a good morning changes the man who meets those things. And when the man changes, the fight changes. Brick by brick, choice by choice, morning by morning, your life can change in 1 week. That is not a slogan, that is law. Let that settle in. You do not need a new personality, you need a stronger opening move. You do not need more time, you need more command over the first part of your time. Because if you cannot lead yourself at 6 a.m., what makes you think you will suddenly lead yourself at 6 p.m. when the day has already drained you? We love to imagine big turnarounds. We love the movie scene, the big speech, the dramatic comeback. But real life is quieter than that. Real life changes when a tired person gets out of bed anyway. Real life changes when a confused person chooses one clear action. Real life changes when a discouraged person says, this morning will not be wasted. Not in blaming, Not in bargaining, not in waiting, but in ownership. And ownership feels heavy for a minute, then it feels like freedom. Because when you own the start of your day, you stop fearing the rest of it. So let me ask you something, and answer it in the place where you cannot lie. If you keep handing your mornings to chaos, what exactly do you think your future is going to look like? The second habit that changed my life in 1 week was writing things down. I know that sounds almost too plain to matter, but plain things are often the things we skip, and the things we skip are often the things that save us. A life without a written direction becomes a life pulled by other people's noise. If you do not write your target, you will live by accident. If you do not name what matters, the urgent will eat the important. If you do not speak to your own future on paper, the world will write a rough draft for you and call it normal. I started each day by writing a few lines. What do I want? What kind of man do I need to be today? What must get done no matter what? Not 20 things, not some giant perfect plan, just a few true things, a few honest things, a few clear things. It felt small, it looked almost childish, but that is the beauty of it. It was simple enough to do and strong enough to guide me. A seed looks small too, but once it goes into good soil, it begins working in the dark. That is what written words do. They are seeds for the mind. A thought in your head can fade in 10 seconds. A thought on paper stares back at you. It holds you accountable. It gives shape to fog. It takes a wish and turns it into a target. And targets change behavior. If I wrote, work out for 20 minutes, I was more likely to move. If I wrote, call your mother, I was more likely to remember love matters more than hustle. If I wrote, finish this one task before noon, I was less likely to waste the morning playing busy. We do not drift because life is impossible. We drift because life is noisy. We drift because every message, every screen, every opinion wants to borrow our attention. And attention is life. Where your attention goes, your days go. Where your days go, your years go. So writing became my way of telling my attention where to live. Think about that. Most people treat their mind like an open house. Anybody can walk in, any mood can sit down, any fear can speak loud. Then they wonder why they feel scattered. I stopped doing that. I gave my mind a job. I gave my day a name. I gave my future a voice. No confusion, no wandering, no pretending, just clarity. There is a quiet power in seeing your own words in front of you. It is like looking at a map before driving into a storm. The road may still twist, traffic may still happen, weather may still turn, but the man with a map moves different from the man guessing every turn. And let us be honest, some of you are tired not because you are doing too much, but because you are carrying too much mental clutter. Half-finished thoughts, half-made choices, half-owned dreams. You are spending energy trying to remember what matters because you never slowed down long enough to name it. Write it down, write the goal, write the lesson, write the mistake, write the next move. Your notebook is not just paper. It is a mirror. It is a compass. It is a contract. I even wrote the kind of man I wanted to be in simple words. Calm, strong, honest, focused, patient. Not because writing the words made me that man in an instant, but because it reminded me who I was trying to become when my old habits came calling. Identity grows where attention goes. Read that again in your heart. Identity grows where attention goes. If all day long you feed yourself the image of a tired, unlucky, confused person, that image will start running your life. But if every morning you feed yourself a picture of discipline, service, growth, and self-respect, your choices begin to line up. Your life can change in 1 week when your mind stops spinning and starts aiming. It does not take long to feel the peace that clarity brings. When I began writing, the day felt less heavy. Why? Because some of the weight was never work. It was vagueness. It was the pressure of not deciding. It was the drag of carrying 10 thoughts instead of one clear next step. Let that settle in. A clear mind wastes less life. A written goal has force. A named standard has teeth. And the people who build a strong life are not always the smartest people in the room. Often they are just the people who got quiet long enough to decide who they would be before the world started voting on it for them. So let me ask you straight, if your dreams never make it onto paper, whose dream have you been living all this time? The third habit that changed my life in 1 week was moving my body every single day. Not because I was trying to look like a model, not because I wanted applause, not because fitness is some magic answer to everything. I moved because a still body can slowly teach the mind to stay stuck. And I needed to break that lesson. Listen, the body is not just flesh and bone. It is a messenger. It is an engine. It is a training ground. When you teach your body to obey in small hard things, your mind starts believing you can obey in bigger hard things too. That is why a few push-ups can become bigger than push-ups. A walk can become bigger than a walk. A cold shower can become bigger than a cold shower. Each one whispers the same message. We do hard things now. We do not collapse. The second life feels heavy. We do not wait for comfort to give us permission. I started small. A walk, a stretch, some push-ups on the floor, a little sweat, a little breath, a little discomfort. That was enough, and I felt something wake up in me that had been sleeping for too long. Not just muscle, not just energy. Grit, that is the word. Grit, the kind that says keep going when the mind starts whining. The kind that says finish the set, finish the mile, finish the day. A rusty car does not need a speech. It needs to be started. It needs motion. It needs heat. That is what happens to us when we have been sitting in our excuses too long. We get rusty, we feel heavy, we lose sharpness. Then we confuse that feeling with identity. We say, maybe I am just lazy, maybe I am just weak. No. Maybe you have just been still too long. Maybe your body has been absorbing all your delay. Maybe the engine needs to turn over again. Think about that. Have you ever noticed how different your thoughts feel after a walk? Same life, same bills, same problems, but a different state, because movement changes chemistry. Movement changes mood. Movement changes the story you are telling yourself in that moment. And I do not need a textbook to tell me what I have lived. I know that when I move, I think better, I choose better, I speak better, I handle pain better. When I do not move, my thoughts become thick. My patience gets shorter, my excuses get louder. That is why this habit changed my life so fast. It gave me a daily fight I could win, and winning matters, especially when you have been losing confidence in yourself. You need victories, even little ones. Finish the walk, win. Do 10 push-ups, win. Stretch for 10 minutes instead of scrolling, win. Each win is a vote. Each win says, this is the kind of person I am becoming. Your identity is not built in one giant ceremony. It is built in repeated votes, one choice, then another, then another. That is why the gym, the sidewalk, the bedroom floor, the park bench, the stairs in your building, these can all become holy ground if you use them to train your will. No audience, no music needed, no perfect plan, just action, no rescue, no delay, no negotiation, just action. And here is something else movement taught me. Pain is not always your enemy. Some pain is a teacher. Some pain is the burn that reminds you you are alive. Some pain is the cost of waking up the parts of you that comfort has put to sleep. We run from all pain and then wonder why we feel empty. But the pain of discipline has a gift inside it. It gives you your edge back. It gives you your posture back. It gives you the look in your eyes that says, I am no longer a passenger in my own life. Your life can change in 1 week when your body stops learning comfort and starts learning command. Let that settle in. You do not need to become a machine. You need to become available to your own standards again. And some of you know exactly what I mean. You have been saying, I will start Monday, I will start next month, I will start when life calms down. But life does not calm down before discipline begins. Discipline begins, and then your life gets calmer because you are stronger inside the storm. So answer me honestly, what kind of mind can live in a body you keep teaching to quit? The fourth habit that changed my life in 1 week was guarding what entered my mind. This one is quiet, but it is deadly serious. Because the mind is a garden, and if you do not choose what gets planted there, weeds will move in without asking. Bad news all day, useless drama all night, voices that mock effort, content that feeds lust, envy, anger, and distraction. Then people wonder why they feel dark inside. Brother, if you eat trash, you expect a sick stomach. Why do you feed trash to your mind and expect peace? I had to become more careful with what I watched, what I listened to, what I read, and who I gave access to my inner world. Not because I wanted to hide from reality, not because I wanted to live in some fake bubble, but because I finally understood something important. Input shapes outlook. Outlook shapes choices. Choices shape life. That is not deep talk. That is everyday truth. If the first thing you hear each morning is fear, your thoughts will dress in fear. If the last thing you absorb each night is nonsense, your sleep will carry some of that nonsense. We become what we repeat. We become what we rehearse. We become what we feed. So I stopped letting random voices have front row seats in my head. I read more good words. I listened to wiser voices. I got quiet on purpose. I cut back on the endless scroll that made me feel busy, empty, and strangely sad all at once. You know that feeling. 10 minutes becomes 30, 30 becomes 90. Then you stand up with nothing in your hand but a weaker mind and a shorter attention span. Think about that. The phone is not evil. The world is not evil. But unguarded access is expensive. A magnifying glass can focus sunlight into fire. Your attention works the same way. Scattered light warms nothing. Focused light burns through. When I guarded my inputs, it was like taking the magnifying glass of my mind out of a shaking hand and holding it still. Suddenly I could think again. Suddenly I could hear my own conscience again. Suddenly I could sit with a hard thought long enough to learn from it instead of running to a screen the second discomfort showed up. That is a huge change. Because many people are not actually incapable of growth. They are just overfed on distraction. They do not need more entertainment. They need more silence. They do not need more opinions. They need more truth. They do not need more noise. They need more room to hear themselves. Let that settle in. Silence is not empty. Silence is where buried wisdom starts coming back to the surface. Silence is where your standards stop whispering and start speaking clearly. Silence is where you notice the lie you have been living with. 1 hour less of junk can feel like a new life. One book chapter can feed you more than 3 hours of random clips. One deep conversation can strengthen you more than a week of fake connection. And yes, this habit changes life fast. Your life can change in 1 week when you stop pouring poison into your own well. That phrase may sound strong, but some truths need strong words. If every day you feed your mind envy, you will struggle to be grateful. If every day you feed your mind lust, you will struggle to see people clearly. If every day you feed your mind mockery, you will struggle to honor what matters. The inner diet becomes the outer life. That is why wise people protect the gate. They know not everything deserves entry. They know every voice should not become a roommate in the mind. They know peace is not found by accident. It is built by selection. So choose your books, choose your friends, choose your playlists, choose your quiet, choose your windows, choose your feed. Choose like your future depends on it, because it does. No filter, no focus, no fire. With filter, with focus, with truth, your life can change in 1 week. So tell me, when no one else is watching, who are you becoming from what you keep feeding your mind? The fifth habit that changed my life in 1 week was ending the day with an honest review. Not shame, not drama, not beating myself up, just truth. Every night I looked at the day and asked, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And what needs to happen tomorrow? That little habit did something powerful. It stopped my days from blurring together. It stopped mistakes from hiding in the dark. It stopped me from calling a bad pattern a random accident. When you review your day, you begin to see your life. Not the story you tell people, not the image you post, the real thing, the choices, the slips, the wins, the leaks, the truth. And truth, even when it stings, is mercy. Because what can be seen can be changed. Most people live by season without noticing the weather inside them. One bad habit in spring becomes a bigger one in summer. Summer turns to fall, fall turns to winter, and by then the ground is hard and the crop is poor. They say, how did this happen? It happened one unexamined day at a time. That is why the nightly review matters. It lets you catch small drift before it becomes a deep ditch. It lets you pull weeds while they are still weak. It lets you notice, I am getting sharp here, I am getting sloppy there, I need to fix that now. Think about that. We inspect things that matter. We inspect cars, we inspect work, we inspect money. But many people never inspect their own day. Then they are shocked when life breaks down. I began asking simple questions. Did I keep my word today? Where did I waste time? What triggered me? What gave me energy? Did I move closer to the man I said I wanted to become, or farther away? Simple questions. Honest answers. No excuses, no hiding, no blame, just ownership. And ownership is where change lives. This habit also gave me something beautiful: gratitude. Because when you slow down and look at the day, you do not just see flaws. You see grace. You see the moment you handled a hard thing better than before. You see the call you almost forgot to make. You see the meal on the table. You see the breath in your lungs. You see the progress that would have gone unnoticed if you rushed past it. A man who can notice progress is harder to break because he stops believing the lie that nothing is changing. Your life can change in 1 week when you start measuring it with honesty instead of mood. Mood lies. Mood says nothing is working because today felt heavy. Mood says quit because the road is long. Mood says sleep on your standards and try again never. But review brings you back to facts. Facts say you got up earlier 4 days this week. Facts say you moved your body 5 times. Facts say you read instead of scrolling last night. Facts say you are not who you were 7 days ago. Let that settle in. The nightly review is like standing in front of a mirror that does not flatter you and does not hate you. It just tells the truth, and that truth becomes a friend if you let it. Because once you know where you slipped, you can prepare better. Once you know what drains you, you can protect your energy. Once you know what strengthens you, you can build around it. This is how real growth happens. Not by guessing, not by hoping, not by pretending, but by noticing, adjusting, and returning. Day by day, night by night, season by season. And then 1 week becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes a year. A year becomes a whole different life. That is why I keep saying it, and I want you to hear it deep. Your life can change in 1 week. Not because the week is magical, but because the week can mark the moment you stopped lying to yourself and started leading yourself. So before this day ends, let me put one more question in front of you. When your future self looks back at tonight, will he thank you for being honest? Or will he watch you avoid the mirror one more time? Now come back to that first line. Nobody is coming. Hear it again, but hear it right this time. It is not bad news. It is freedom. It means your life is not waiting on perfect luck, perfect timing, or perfect people. It means the power is closer than you thought. It means the person capable of changing your life is already in the mirror. Picture yourself 1 year from now. You wake up early without a fight, your room is clean, your body feels alive, your mind is clear, your notebook has direction in it, your eyes look steady, your word means something to you now. People feel the difference when you walk in, but even better, you feel the difference when you are alone. The panic is lower, the shame is weaker, the excuses are quieter. The future does not scare you the same way anymore because you are not meeting it empty-handed. You built habits. You built proof. You built a man your younger self would have trusted. Imagine sitting at the edge of your bed one morning in that future life, sunlight coming through the window, peace in your chest, strength in your posture, and realizing it all began with 1 week when you finally decided to stop drifting. 1 week when you took back your morning. 1 week when you wrote the truth down. 1 week when you moved your body. 1 week when you guarded your mind. 1 week when you faced the mirror at night and told yourself the truth. That is how lives turn. Quietly, repeatedly, deliberately. So do not tell yourself you need a whole new life tonight. You need a new next step. Get up earlier. Write it down. Move your body, guard the gate, review the day, then do it again and again and again. No one is coming to wake you up. No one is coming to hand you focus. No one is coming to rescue your wasted years. But if you decide now, truly decide, those years do not have to define the rest of your life. This can be the week you remember forever. This can be the week the fog started lifting. This can be the week your excuses lost their voice. So stand up inside yourself. Stand up in your habits. Stand up in your choices. And when your old life tries to call you back with comfort, laziness, and delay, answer with this: no excuses, no waiting, no quitting, just becoming unstoppable.